What's up, Retro Activist? Kenzie Retro here. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be doing another top 10 list, and it's going to be on my top 10 animated films of this year. No honorable mentions this time around. The rules being they have to be films that I've seen and a 2023 UK release date. Now, in the past, I had a 2020, I had on any particular 2017 worldwide release date, which kind of ended up eliminating some films that I had been looking forward to seeing, but they didn't come out until the following year. So that's why I've got the 2020. So that's why I've got the UK release date rule in place to maximize my chances of seeing these films. So that being said, let's not waste any more time and let's get into the list. And like I say, there's no honorable mentions this time around. No honorable mentions this time around, but because I managed to get through 10 animated films this year, I just had to get a separate list put together for my animated films. So let's start, shall we? So number 10, Trolls Band Together. They got NSYNC back together to help with the soundtrack for this film. And I'm all here for it. Although Branch used to be part of a boy band comprising of his brothers. So part of me is really glad that we are back to having villains that are villains for the sake of being villains. Nothing redeemable about them. And the villains in this case, two viral superstars after they captured one of Branch's brothers, using his talent to elevate their own. All just to try and get some internet fame. One of my favorite segments in this film is when they press the hustle button and we get Yellow Submarine levels of trippy animation. But at the end of the day, this film is fun to have on in the background and just to entertain the kids for a couple of hours. Next up, Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget. Was a sequel really necessary? Personally, I don't think it was, but yet they made one anyway. And the big question is, how in the blue blazes did Mrs. Militia Tweedy survive being crushed by whatever it was? How did she survive being crushed? Clear as day, she hasn't changed. But a couple of the voice actors have. The biggest one being Ginger's voice actor. And there was immediate criticism regarding it. And it's not hard to see why, because when you look at some of the online stuff, Ginger's original voice actor can still pull it off. You can understand why they'll have recast Rocky, because there's a lot of that trademark British humor in this film. It's Aardman Studios. How can you fault these guys? Especially given the fact we have a Wallace and Gromit film coming out this year. Yay! I cannot wait for Wallace and Gromit. Where is my cheese? Where's my cheese? Where's my crackers? I'm getting cheese and crackers to watch Wallace and Gromit when it comes out. I should really do a retrospective on the Wallace and Gromit franchise. I should really try that at some point. Anyway. So, but back to Chicken Run. Like I say, there's trademark British humor, but there's a major plot hole in regarding how Mrs. Tweedy survived. This next one, A lot of people expected so much more from this film, especially with it being the culmination of Disney's 100th anniversary celebrations. And for me, when I went to see it, I enjoyed it. It's wishing on those stars is what Disney have been inspiring us to do ever since Pinocchio came out back in 1940. And it is, simply put, a great love letter to Disney's history. The animation style is incredible. The war the backgrounds are fantastic. Shame the same can't be said for the songs though. But This Wish and Knowing What I Know Now are my favorite songs from this film. So at the end of the day, this, like I say, this is a great love letter. There's a lot of Easter eggs to classic Disney films, and even the credits give a love letter to most of the animated classics. Alan Tudyk always Alan Tudyk always lights up every scene he's in. I mean, the fact that you think to yourself, hang on, why does this talking goat named Valentino, why does he sound like Patrick Stewart? Who knew my voice could go this low? Alan Tudyk is one of my favorite voice actors right now. I wonder what role he's gonna have in the next film that comes out later this year. This next one I went to see on the same day as Gran Turismo, mainly just for a bit of fun to try and just escape reality. And there's no better way to do that than with a good animated film. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, taking a similar animation style to the Spider-Verse films. And honestly, this is another one where it's just a lot of fun to watch. But I'm struggling to find other things to praise about this film. I'm struggling. Can anybody think of anything? I think I'm struggling here. This feels like somewhat of an origin story, if you will. My word, the post-credit scene. The post-credit scene sets up a sequel very, very nicely, and I can't wait to see it. Especially given the fact they've confirmed that there's a sequel in development. Seth Rogen brings his trademark humor to this film and makes it easily accessible for the kids as well, and for long-time Ninja Turtle fans like myself. Thank goodness we don't have to deal with those Michael Bay abominations anymore. Mutant Mayhem is an absolute blast, especially if you're a long-time fan of the Ninja Turtles like myself. Number 6. Oh, I can't remember the last time I had this much fun watching a film until the Super Mario Brothers movie came out. I had my doubts, I had my skepticisms, but they were immediately swept away. And this film is easily up there as one of the most fun animated films that I've seen in a long, long time. I've lost count of how many times I've watched it now, and it's just incredible. I'm struggling to find other ways of describing how amazing films are without crashing the online thesaurus. So, that being said, though, This is definitely a lot of fun. And I really hope they get a sequel out of this because that post-credit scene, we get Yoshi! There's a potential sequel in the works as well as potential spin-offs involving Luigi's Mansion and Donkey Kong Country. Oh my word! And we could potentially have a spin-off film involving Princess Peach. Yes! Let's go! So many Easter eggs involving Nintendo and Mario's history. I honestly don't know where to be. I don't know what else to say beyond that. I love this film just for how much fun it is to watch. Into the top 5 now, and Puss. What's that? Oh, how does that song start again? Who is your favorite fearless hero? Yeah. Who is your favorite fearless hero? Puss in Boots. The Last Wish.
You lunch me. And the rest of you play double time.
And this is definitely up there. There's a reason this is up there as one of the strongest animated films that I've seen this year. It's without question one of the most visually beautiful animated films. You've got John Mulaney, hilarious as the irredeemable monster. What took you so long, idiot? Big Jack Horner. No, not Jack Horner. And I think I might need to get out of here as quickly as I can. Death hunting Puss down at every opportunity when he's down to his last life is honestly quite terrifying. But the voice acting is just on point throughout this film. Florence Pugh as Goldie Sheep. Hand it over, or I'll poke holes in the labia. Oh my word. Now, Perito did have people thinking, oh, good lord, this is not going to end well. That final battle between Death and Puss is just incredible. If you haven't had a chance to see this film yet, definitely give it a watch. I would say, for me, this next film is the best Disney-related film that came out this year. Elemental at number 4. It's Inside Out, and you have all these elements. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Element City. The animation on the two main elements here, fire and water, are incredible throughout. And the relationship between Ember and Wade, incredible. Another thing that's incredible here is the beauty of the music. And it's no surprise that it's one Thomas Newman that provides the incredible music throughout this film. It's definitely one that I can't really recommend enough. But personally, I don't think it's going to be winning Best Animated Film this year during awards season. Why? Because there's a couple of other picks that are going to be serious contenders in the field of animation during awards season for me. This next one, I only got round to seeing not too long ago for the first time, and this was an This was an emotional roller coaster, to say the least. And it's not hard to see why. Based on based on the mockumentary shorts that ended up being on YouTube, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Yes, this is a film that had a 2023 UK release date on it, and Marcel is Marcel is so adorable. But like I say, the emotional roller coaster I went through with this film is just it's one of the reasons I love watching films as much as I do. Just the whole gallery of emotions that the film puts you through. And that beautiful cover. That beautiful cover of peaceful, easy feeling is just, it's one of the most beautiful covers that I've ever heard. The fact that it's just Jenny Slate putting on this breathy, childlike voice for Marcel. It's honestly incredible. And yet, there were still two films that came out in 2023 that I thought were somehow better. Number two, we all know what that means. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. For the longest time, for months, for weeks, for months, this was up there as my film of the year. Until my next pick came into the fray. This film holds the record for the longest animated film ever. Take note, Fast and Furious. That's how you do a cliffhanger. Haley Steinfeld managed to win a couple of awards for her voice acting as Gwen Stacy in this film. The song Self Love is incredible as well. And the animation gets elevated to a whole new level here. You initially think, oh, Spot, villain of the week. He's a terrifying monster by the end. Absolutely terrifying. Some of the newcomers in here, especially Hobie. Spider-Punk is incredible throughout the time he's on screen. Oscar Isaac is incredible as Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099. But like I say, the animation is what steals the show here above anything else. And there are a couple of people were concerned regarding the home media release and the theatrical release because of the changes that were made on the home media release compared to when it came out in theaters. Despite that, though, there were a lot of people that were concerned with how some of the changes from the theatrical cut to the home media release end up lessening some of the more dramatic moments of the film. Which, again, a valid concern. rightly so. They're every right to be concerned. But those nitpicks aside, this is without question one of the greatest animated films I've ever seen. One of the greatest modern animated films, I should say. And yet, there was still one more film that managed to beat out everything I've seen throughout 2023. And this ended up becoming my overall film of the year. But before we get into that, we are going to get into the honorable mentions. Actually, oh, I'm an idiot. There are no honorable mentions. So straight on to the recap we go. Number 10, Trolls Band Together. Number 9, Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget. Number 8, Wish. Number 7, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Number 6, Super Mario Brothers movie. Number 5, Puss in Boots The Last Wish. Number 4, Elemental. Number 3, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. And number 2, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. But what could possibly be top of the list in terms of my favorite animated films of the year? I'm going to preface by saying thank you, Hayao Miyazaki. Yep, Studio Ghibli, top of the list. Proof and testament that hand-drawn animation is still the most timeless of all forms of animation. The Boy and the Heron is my number one film of 2023. There's a reason so many people love Studio Ghibli. There's a reason so many people love Hayao Miyazaki's work. There's a reason that Studio Ghibli is one of the greatest animation studios in the world. And it's for films like this. I didn't so much pay attention to the story. I was just there to just take in everything visually, and the visuals do not disappoint. You've got your classic Studio Ghibli elements in there. You've got your fantasy, you've got your adventure, you've got beautiful animation. The English dub cast is very, very impressive, if you ask me. And there's a lot to love about There's a lot to love about the English dub of this film. And that English dub cast includes Robert Pattinson, Christian Bale, Florence Pugh, and Willem Dafoe, among others. Even Mark Hamill and Dave Bautista decide to get their names involved as well. And it's testament to how incredible it is testament to how incredible this film is. Combine that with the fact that you've also got music by the amazing Joe Hisaishi, and you have got yourself one of the best Studio Ghibli films I've ever seen. And this is the first time I've actually seen a Studio Ghibli film on the big screen, and it's not hard to see why I rate this as highly as I do. Because seeing films on the big screen is one of the best experiences you're ever going to have. Whether it's an animated film or a cinematic epic, there's a reason to see these films on the big screen because it's an experience unlike any other if you either haven't done it before or haven't been for a while. So that brings us to the end of my retrospectives on 2023. We've already gone through my games of the year. We've already gone through my top 10 non-animated films of the year. And we've now done the top 10 animated films of the year. And if you're wondering what my overall top 10 is, there you go. That's how my overall top 10 stacks. The fact that I've managed to get a top 10 animated films of the year list put together is testament to how amazing this year 2023 has been for animation. And who knows what 2024 is going to have in store. But we'll see what happens when those films come out, and you can guarantee that I'll be checking them out when they release. But in the meantime, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up. And if you want to keep up to date with my channel, you can hit the subscribe button down at the bottom, click the bell, and turn on notifications so you don't miss when a video goes live. We're going to be back in the Kingdom of Isolation very soon with WALL-E as we start our road to completing the Pixar films. But until then, folks, I'll see you guys next time. But always remember to make each moment count.